Hello everyone, welcome to our February 2022 release blog where we covered in our sprint the living off the land binaries. We are the Splunk threat research team and my name is Michael Haig. I am a senior threat researcher here. What does the Splunk threat research team do? A lot of our time is focused on studying threats. We create data sets. We build detections based on that behavior. Those procedures. We release different tools. We have a bunch of different tools under our repo on GitHub, and we like to share as much of this as possible with the community. And in this particular release, we focused mostly on living off the land. What is living off the land? You most likely have heard about this. This project was created a good couple years ago now. The project we based a lot of our work around was the Lobaz project, which is living off the land, binaries, and scripts. The link is lobaz-project.github.io. What is it? What is a Lobin? Generally speaking, it is a native binary. It could also be a library or script on the operating system. It could also be something that is in an SDK from Microsoft or another binary that Microsoft has signed on their website. Basically, it's any of these tools that has a potentially unexpected functionality built into it, so you're able to use it. Meant to be intentionally used this particular way. However, it may be abused, and that's where a lot of these come from. Over the years, we have seen many variations or uses of these tools as application whitelisting bypasses, application control, bypassing different types of products and controls that, EDR tools and whatnot. And it's definitely something that a lot of adversaries are monitoring. Red teams and whatnot, if you have a simulation performed, they most likely use a bunch of different Lobins, and hopefully you have detection coverage for it. Why is this important? Well, again, they're native to the operating system, and this can also be Mac, Linux, and Windows. It doesn't just have to be Windows here. It blends in with common process execution. You might see PowerShell running all the time, or you might see regserve32 running all the time. These are very much living off the land binaries. These things are constantly running. They will load up different DLLs. They will have different types of command line. So it's a really interesting binary or execution for an adversary to use because it blends in with what you already have in your environment. And they generally all can load script code natively. And what I mean by that is many of them can load up an XML file on disk or a C# project file. Things that are just, they look native, they all blend in, and it loads up, and it can use all native Windows APIs, things like that. So they're very powerful utilities. And what we found over time is that these go beyond just looking for regserve32 on disk or rundll32. It can also be a script. Natively on Windows, there's random scripts on disk that have API calls already built into them to call and load up different type of script code, or a DLL, or a library or a module. These things can be used with like rundll32 or regserve32, loading up enough functions to make a call to the internet, grab a binary, whatever it may be. So that's kind of where we fit in this, why it's important, why we're doing what we did. And so with that, part of our demo here today is we will look at atomic testing, going to use a little bit of invoke atomic red team. If you haven't used it before, I'll show it off in our demo here, how to just quickly get going with it. Couple techniques I'll be using: T1140, T1197, and you can use a lot of these. So this is like certutil, schedule task, and T1218s. These are all the script process execution. And so T1218, I put an asterisk because there's obviously a bunch of them, but all of those are particularly just native Lolbin type execution. Also check out Atomic Test Harnesses. This project goes a lot deeper into the variations of the utilities, of the native binaries on disk. We have a couple of them for install util. I think MS Build has one now, and there is definitely MSHTA, HTML help, hh.exe. Those are all in the Atomic Test Harness repo, and I'll show how to load those up as well. All right, gonna go ahead and switch over to the demo here. See you there. Okay, so for our demo, we're going to start out with quickly discussing how we simulated these. First, we're going to use Invoke Atomic Red Team, which is the PowerShell framework that will simulate or execute all the Atomic Red Team tests. The quickest way to get this going is to go to the wiki, click on installation on the right, and the very, very fast option is to just grab this invoke expression command. That's the framework itself. If you want to install the Atomic Red Team repo along with the framework, just this line down here, and this will install the atomics and the framework, and you can kick off from there all of the tests that we want to simulate. So now that you have that installed and ready to go, we will go through quickly simulating some simple tests. So in this particular case, we have our living off the land analytic story, highlighting a little bit about what a living off the land binary is. And then we also list out all of the detections that we tagged and or newly added to this story, all related to living off the land binaries. It could be everything from bits to certutil to HTML help, things like that. And it goes on and on. There's about, I think, 73 of them in here. And you can only imagine there's some hundreds of binaries on Windows alone. Imagine how many more there may or may not be found. So from there, I'm going to just flip to my other instance. So I've already simulated these tests, and I'll just run through them again so you can see them run live as well. I'll start with T1140, but because I've already kind of have it already running on disk, it already kind of throws some errors. If you wanted to resimulate these, there is a cleanup command or switch that you can run, and that'll go through and actually delete those files, and you can rerun your test just like that. So there's T1140. T1218, so T1140 is going to be certutil. T1218.001 is HTML help. This will execute a compiled HTML help file. And the reason why this one's hanging is because it's actually attempting to load a website. HTML help is a very interesting little binary. I'm just going to kind of power through these so we can see the data present itself here. And then next we use the Atomic Test Harness. We added these to Atomic Red Team so that the harness itself can be added as a prereq, so you can download it through the prerequisite, and then it will actually go through and run the 5 or 6 variations of executing CHM files, compiled HTML helps, and you can see the output is nice, understandably very readable, so you can see the process running it and its command line. Each one of these does have, I should say not all of them, but they do have options for you to go through and change the different objects within the CHM file. So in this particular case, up here, it's using this protocol handler right here. There are a few others that you can simulate through, or you can call invoke ATH HTML help, the actual harness. Just real quick. Oh yeah, ATH compiled help. You can run through this as well. It's doing the same exact thing, and it'll give you the same output, but you can actually flip through and change what you're looking for here. So yeah, that covers the test harness portion, simulating this data. And then from there, I went ahead and just grabbed a couple from the Living Off the Land analytic story, popped them into Splunk. I removed the actual query itself because I just wanted to show the process data. So like in this case, certutil running, and this is its command line where it's decoding a file and or encoding a file. And this is again from the atomic test. And then if you flip to the next one, it's going to be HTML help, hh.exe, and you'll see the different variations of the process, all the command line data that we executed with Atomic Red Team. And then the last one was scheduled task. So I created a quick scheduled task here, and this will, more or less catch, this query is looking for tasks being created or deleted. So this is the actual one from the analytic itself. But you can see command spawning scheduled task and what it's creating. So that is our living off the land analytic story. Short, quick demo, but it does cover, again, there's 73 analytics in here. There's a lot of data to sift through. The project itself is Lobaz. You can actually go to the Lobaz project. Just a quick search here. And this is the main repo for it. They do have a nice web page, lobazproject.github.io. This has everything in here. A lot of our focus for this project was looking at the type of binaries. So if you type binaries here, you get all the different binaries, and then we cross-reference with what we already have in the security content repo, compared it, and out of it we found that there was only a couple missing. So majority we had, so we tagged it under our new analytics story, and then some we added new ones, and it was mainly dependent upon whether it was still being used in the wild or not, what the priority is, and things like that. Based on recent activity we've been seeing, all of that goes into determining if it was worth to go and create some new content for it. Anyway, hope you found that interesting, and we will flip back to the slides. All right, so good demo. Yeah, so out of all the work that we did over time, we've accumulated a bunch of living off the land binaries, just generating new content, security content for Splunk products. So we've created about, in total, I think it's about 73 different analytics detections, that all utilize living off the land techniques. Obviously ranges from everything from certutil, bits, just different ways command is executed and all of that. And you can find all of these on our research.splunk.com site under Living Off the Land, which is the analytics story. I showed a little bit in the demo. So from there, lots of content to review and check out. With that, we also have 3 SOAR playbooks that go along with this analytics story. SSH investigate, WinRM investigate, and deleting detected files. Depending on what you may want to do custom wise, you could definitely generate a lot of new kind of content around low bins and whatnot. So it's very powerful stuff. And with that, thank you. You can reach us at research@splunk.com or check out our page at research.splunk.com. And yeah, we'll see you out there. Thank you.